and welcome to our special National Apprenticeship Week podcast. Thank you for joining us. My name is Sarah.
And I'm Tom.
And we're both apprentice engineers. This week is all about celebrating apprenticeships and the amazing opportunities they create for people like us to learn, grow and kickstart their careers. Today we're going to be talking to the people that make it happen. Zach and Richard, please introduce yourselves.
Good morning, I'm Zach Moore. I'm a contract manager for MMB working in Unit B.
My name is Richard Leese. I am a curriculum manager and also a tutor at the Leeds College Building, who is responsible for the higher education apprentices. So I started as an apprentice at the current college. So I started at Leeds College Building as an apprentice pipe fitter welder. So I was on the tools initially, worked in industry for 10 years nationally. I then went back to college to teach. I then did my HNC and eventually my degree through the college. Teaching generally building service engineering and now curriculum manager.
So I'm not a civil engineer, believe it or not. So I started my career out as an electrical apprentice. So that was back in 2008 for a company in Manchester called Interface Contracts. I was a young parent at that time, so needed to progress and get through that quite quickly, so we did. And then just sort of worked my way up the ladder through supervision into management. And I think it was 2017, I came back to the Yorkshire Water region and joined Bentley as a site agent, and then progressed after about 5 years to contract manager, which is where I am today.
Lovely. To both of you again, what do you think makes a well-rounded engineer?
I would say personal skills. So I think it's more about the person than the sort of qualifications, but having the communication skills, the critical thinking, the ability to be able to adapt, get things wrong, make mistakes, fix things, and just generally communicate and be able to get around people.
I think to come off the back of that, I think for me is around having a wide range of not just engineering, but considerations around the other elements that we have to deal with. So planning, commercial, how to integrate with the teams on site, client. So for me, being able to interface in all them different points is a well-rounded engineer.
Zach, what's it like having an apprentice in your team?
So I've got several in the team, but I guess I find it quite rewarding watching the apprentice go through that progression path, so from first year to endpoint assessment. From a business perspective, it's good. We're bringing people on from day one to that ending. Can be tricky at times, but I guess they integrate as part of the team quite early on, and I guess having them in early shows them what the business is like, what our expectations are, and gives them a better understanding as they go through that process.
On that, can I ask you guys what you think makes a good engineer or a good apprentice?
In terms of a good apprentice, is someone who's willing to learn, someone who doesn't give up, because there's quite often where it's hard to balance coursework with being at work, especially when it gets around to your endpoint assessment, when you have an essay to do, as well as prepare yourself for your interview. I know that me, personally, I spent quite a few hours after work on site preparing my interview and preparing my presentation. But in the end, it's worth it when you get that email saying you've passed, and all of a sudden there's quite a big relief off your shoulders. For us, for example, that meant that we could then go on to our degree, which is the next step in our journey.
I think having the right mindset as well is quite important, in the sense that you are an apprentice, you are there to learn, you aren't meant to know everything, and that's something I struggle with quite a bit, not knowing, I'm not meant to know everything, it is okay to ask for help.
I'd agree, and I think being well-rounded, you get out what you put in, so jump straight in, it's on yourselves as much as it is us, tutoring and supporting, it's on yourselves to really dig deep and put that effort in, because if you don't, you probably won't get what other people will who are doing that in that apprenticeship environment. So it's on you as well.
Richard, what advice would you give to someone thinking about an apprenticeship?
I would advise them to go for it. Grab it with both hands, try it. I think the big advantage to apprenticeships is the obvious one, which is earn while you learn. So you're earning a living, you're getting the qualifications. On top of that, you're able to do the job. So it aligns very closely with the new standards now. It all aligns very closely with what you're learning at college to what you should be doing and are doing in industry and on site. So you can see what's happening in class, you can see what's happening academically, to then putting it into your work situations.
I agree with that.
And then you become a key part of the group. So by the time you're finished, you are an engineer, you are part of the group, you are one of the staff that is doing as much as everyone else. So you're not sort of coming in fresh with the qualification and having to find your feet around the processes and the different workings of the industry and the business. But
I think, just on that, there's been quite a few pin drop moments on site where you've learned it in a classroom, and then when you're actually on site and you see it,
Yeah, you're like,
and it
I know
all
this
clicks
one.
rather than just learning it on a board and writing about it and then going back to it 2 years' time.
do you feel a valuable part of the business? So when you come into work, do you feel like, even completed your level 4 now, do you feel like you are a valuable part of what happens?
I think definitely. I think especially since, whether it's just the title being given to me since I passed the EPA has made it stand out a bit maybe, but I feel like people take my opinion on a bit more seriously than they did 12 months ago, for example.
Agree, definitely agree. I think when you build that relationship with people you've been on site with for however long, you do tend to get to that point where you earn that respect from them almost, and it's quite rewarding being able to go, oh yeah, they do trust me and I trust them to do the job.
So Richard, talking about apprenticeships, what qualifications do you need to get an apprenticeship with Leeds College of Building, for example?
So each apprenticeship has its own entry requirements normally. So if you're going on for a level 4 qualification, we would expect you to have a level 3 qualification. It's not always worked like that. Sometimes we take industry experience as a qualification. Also for engineering, for example, maths, science, so you may have done A-levels like yourself, you may have done other qualifications, but there's lots of interlinked skills, there's lots of skills that we can take out. It's you as an individual in terms of where you start, but there's a clear pathway from level 3 apprentices, level 4 now degree apprenticeships. So it doesn't matter where you are on that journey, you can come in, you can use what you've done previously, we can get you in the right path, get you started, and then obviously it's just hopefully a nice, smooth, clear progression to where you want to get, and the world is your oyster, as I say.
Indeed.
There's no age restrictions. So lots of people think, there's probably a myth out there that engineers or apprentices think that because I'm an apprentice I've got to be a young person, but at college currently we have a variety of ages and there is no age limit. It's government funded from an apprenticeship perspective, and we do have people that train that might already be working in industry but come in and do the apprenticeship part and just upskill.
So to both of you, how do people get most of that out of their apprenticeships?
I'll take that if you're happy. Yeah. I guess be open, ask questions and get involved. That's probably the thing I say, so put yourself out there. Everyone's opinion on site is important. We've had various conversations around that, Sarah, so not everyone knows everything. So just because you're starting an apprenticeship doesn't mean your opinion is not valid. So get out there, get your opinion across, challenge the wider team and make sure you're heard out there, because you might have a really, really good idea. And just don't be shy. Just get stuck in.
I would add to that, just be open-minded. I think one of the key bits, we get lots of students who sort of think they're not doing that particular skill or that knowledge yet, but you may do. So everything we do, everything you do, whether it's at work or whether it's in college, you will use somewhere or you will use part of. So it's just being open-minded and enjoy it because it goes really quick.
Richard, how does the college support apprentices to succeed?
It's an ongoing process. So we have a very structured induction system. We work very closely with Bentley's and other employers, so we know what your business needs, we know who your contacts are. And then it's the tutors. So the tutors are all from industry, so they've all been there, done it, worked in the industry, so that hopefully they're providing that examples in class as well as the academic part. We work very closely with the university partnerships that we have, and also Pearson's that run our qualifications, and ultimately the support that we get. Alan Bradford, of course, at Bentley's, we work very closely with, so constant support both ways. From if students need that support to get back on track, or if students who are excelling, and we need to look at progression, early progression, it's something that we've done before. And then the small class sizes, they're just knowing everyone. We know every student, names. We know all the students personally. It's great to see students grow and see students develop. It's a big part of our job and why we enjoy doing it.
So looking at the progression, me and Sarah are about to go for our level 6. We just finished our level 4. What do you expect our biggest challenge to be?
I would say the biggest challenge is to step up from level 4. So I think a lot of degree is a lot around self-learning. If you look at an example of a module, you may be given around 30-40 hours contact time, so actually in class. That then allows you about 120 hours of self-learning, revision, reading lists. And when you're working full-time, that's probably one of the most difficult parts of it, is to go away and work and have the self-discipline to work weekends or spend a little bit of time on a weekend or after work to be reading and researching. So it's probably a big step up. Academic writing as well, so keeping the word counts down, referencing. But again, it's all provided, support's all provided. It's a journey. We're not expecting you to do it immediately. We know you've come from level 4, so it'll be very similar as you first start, and then as you get to the end, it will have happened naturally for you, and you'll see a big difference in how you're writing and how you're communicating and developing.
So I guess both of you have been here for quite a while at Bentley's now. Can you name your top 2 things that you've enjoyed throughout your apprenticeship? Sarah first.
I quite like the amount of learning happens on a day-to-day basis. Like, people say you learn something new every day, but truly there's nothing better than going out and not knowing what to expect from a day. Obviously you all have a plan, kind of an idea of what's going on site day to day. When you get to go out and you have something crop up or another problem happening, it's quite an enjoying experience watching people being so this is how they go about this sort of situation. I'll take that because that's a good way of thinking about it. I'll keep that in my mind and almost collect pieces, the best sort of pieces from every single person that you meet and experience, and shape that into who you are and how you are able to act. Yeah.
I think more from a personal view, is seeing a job finish. So, for example, when you walk onto the job site on day 1 and it's just a grass field, for example, you've got individual milestones as the job goes on. So, for example, my last job was about 18 months, and through it there was stages of progression. So, for example, getting down there with a haul road, dropping in the tanks, actually getting the works live and running, and then finishing the landscaping. I think in between each one of those stages, as you see the job progress, you actually look back at yourself and think of the jobs that you've done specific for that. For example, on my last one, when I stepped foot on that on day 1, there was no way that I knew how to do everything that I'd done throughout the whole job itself. So I think the milestones are a time that you can look back and look at your own progression.
I guess if you were to start your apprenticeship again with what you know now, what would you do differently?
Speak up more.
Yeah.
Closed mouths don't get fed.
Yeah, that's a good saying.
That.
Closed mouths don't get fed.
Write that one down. Tom?
Probably be confident. I think at the start there was times when I won't say I knew the answer, but I had an idea of what the problem would be, or what the answer to the problem would be. And I kept my mouth shut, and then 2 months later when it's come to it and someone else has kind of said the solution, you kind of sat there thinking, I did know that, but I was a bit nervous to say. So I'd say, yeah, just be confident.
Yeah, I would say to apprentices is that don't be afraid to fail. Challenge yourself, and that means failing sometimes, but just put yourself out there and make mistakes and get it wrong, and we'll put it right. We'll get what you need to get it right.
You've been at the business for quite a while. What is your aspirations as part of your career development, and what sort of role are you aiming towards?
I think at the minute my main goal is to kind of get good at being an engineer first and foremost. And then I think it's also quite important for both site-based engineers like myself and Tom, as well as designers, to have experience in both fields. And to not only understand how a designer thinks in the sense that this is why we've done it the way we have, and as a site-based, this is how we would build it, this is the solution we would provide, and also encouraging designers to come out more on site. So yeah, it's quite nice to get a well-rounded experience.
Why did you choose your apprenticeship at J&B Bentley's and not somewhere else?
I actually really enjoy being able to not only sit in an office and do my actual job as an engineer, but being able to go on site and talk to the lads and have those conversations and see it built from ground up is really interesting to me. And also construction is it's one of the few industries I think where every single other industry is involved in some sort of way. You've got the commercial, health and safety, environment, engineering sort of side of it. You've got almost every single main industry where people will be wanting to be in, wanting to be part of. I think it does it really well.
Then you can take it anywhere, like you say. Even us in civils right now, if we got to a point where we didn't want to carry on with civils, we can go to a different aspect of construction and it all works the same.
And J&B is really good with that and helping you transition from, say, site to design or design to commercial or whatever would suit you. They're really, really flexible and really, really good at helping you out as to where you want to go.
What advice would you give to somebody considering an apprenticeship?
People, I think especially in construction, it's such an open industry where it's one of the few where I think you can actually be yourself and there will always be room for you. You don't have to sit and hide behind this facade of who you think you should be versus who you actually are. People are generally very accommodating and there is always a room and space for you. So I guess it's not to hide and be yourself.
Anything to add, Tom?
I think it's mainly that, be yourself.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot more open than people think. You've got the stigmas online about having to be hard as nails working in winter and whatnot, but I think realistically on site it's nothing like. I think everyone's there, they want to get the job done and just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because there's no point coming to work every day if you don't enjoy it.
100%.
Yep.
So Tom, can I ask you, have you worked on a variety of projects for J&B Bentley's and what's sort of a day-to-day look like for you and what skills have you learned and what have you enjoyed about different projects?
Yeah, so I think starting off, my favourite project was up in Northallerton. About 18 months and it had everything in it, from civils to electrical works, and I was the sole engineer in it. So I thought, having everything on site that he's doing, and it's all down to me. I think at the start, the site manager helped me out a bit in terms of telling me to prepare myself because next week we're doing a dig that needs testing out for this. But then by the end of it, I kind of had free reign in terms of if we've got something going on the Monday, I know by Friday night it needs to be ready to go. I think there was a few stressful times when I maybe wasn't as prepared as I had to be. You're out there on the day setting out, the lads are waiting for you, and it does get to you a bit, but then the lads also realise that you're still an apprentice, you're still learning. There was a few times with concrete specifically that it can be stressful because you've got waiting times, you've got the fact that it's not a quick job. But I think the preparation around that is something I definitely learned towards the end of the job itself. I think time management and organisation was up there with things that I learned. And just skills, to be honest. So like I say, we had concreting, we had deep excavations with some formwork, planning for the MEPs to come in. So I think seeing all that go on as well, maybe I didn't have a main involvement in the planning, for example, but seeing it happen gave me a better understanding of what to expect later on. So I think that was the job for me, that had everything in it and I learned little bits of everything. So I think that was definitely a good job for me. Have you got one to add?
So my standout project of my career would be Eschalt IED. The scheme was split into two sort of sides, AD and DW. I was more on AD side, where we had a lot more concrete surfacing to do. I started off at that job shadowing my mentor at the time, kind of still following him, learning like from him like what I was meant to kind of do and encompass. And then as the job kind of went on, I took on managing concrete for the entire job, which was for 4 engineers in their own sort of areas, 9 gangs.
Yeah, at peak, yeah.
9 gangs at peak, managing, making sure we had the correct amounts of concrete coming, going to the right places, ensuring that, you know, the lads aren't going to kill me for concrete being delayed too long. And then I did quite a big chunk in a desert zone in an explosive atmosphere. That was a really interesting learning curve because I'd never actually worked in a zone where like there was such high regulation and such a long process to like get into the area, to then get out of an area, to then what we can and can't do there. With that, obviously, machines, we couldn't really get them in, so we had a look and found a VAC-X. And I worked pretty closely on arranging the VAC-X, the training for the lads to get them all qualified and all that sort of stuff, and for them to like use it and, you know, give me feedback to report back to the people we were hiring from. And it was one of them jobs where I could look back on, because we just finished it off. I look back and I'm like, I've done a lot more than I thought I would have done. And it's like, upon reflection, I thought to myself, I did actually have an impact.
So can I ask you guys, how would you measure success? So is there any milestones during your level 4 or currently that any projects that you've worked on or any awards how would you measure success in your apprenticeship?
Yeah, so first of all is the piece of paper that we get once we complete our ECP. I think that's the biggest one because that's the relief. And then in Bentley, for example, you've got the ECP awards. So that's where there's basically awards for people that stood out. And then you've got area awards, if you like, regional awards. So that can be with your framework that you're on, if you're on a large framework. It can be region of the company. I know quite a few people that have won them sorts of awards further up north. We've had a fair share in the Yorkshire region. So I think individual awards are nice, but the most important thing is that pass qualification, if you know what I mean. That's the most beneficial one going forward.
100%. I do agree. Getting that email was such a relief of being like, okay, I've made it through. If I can do it once, I can do it again with the level 6. We're also professionally qualified as well. We're members of the ICE now, which also is a milestone, I guess, because we're seen as competent enough to be on a board of recognised engineers who have made such big steps in the civil engineering industry. And I think that's quite nice to be a part of.
And that's a lot of hard work. To get to that stage is a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication, so well deserved.
What do you guys think of more women entering the industry, and how would you encourage that?
I'm seeing an increase, which is a good thing. It can only be a good thing. I think having a diverse workforce, diverse college is so beneficial for everyone. You know, everyone in the group, everyone in the industry, within the college. We're seeing an increase in college. Our staff, currently our teaching staff, are predominantly female, which again is great because that should hopefully encourage more females to come into engineering. I think it probably starts careers again, so it's that concept of school, getting females at school to go, I want to work in construction, I want to be an engineer. And again, just getting out there, small bite-sized pieces of seeing more females in construction and successful examples and role models. How are you finding being a female in construction?
I'm going to be so honest with you guys, I did not know what I was signing up for when I got the job. But I can say it has been one of the most eye-opening experiences I've ever kind of gone through. I think it's helped me develop myself in ways I don't think a degree would have ever been able to, or any other sort of industry would have ever been able to open the doors for me. And I've realised very, very quickly, I don't think I could do an office job. I'm sat behind a desk. doing like whatever people do. Like I thoroughly enjoy being able to, like, you know, if I'm sick of being at my desk doing work and stuff, I just go out for a walk, see what the lads are doing, see how if they need any help or any problems they have. Like, it's so interesting to me, and it's just a day where like a job where like not one day is the same, and I absolutely love it.
The reason I'm an engineer is I like answers. I like the correct. There's always an answer. There's always a correct answer, and I like that clarity.
Piggybacking off of that, the process of getting to the right answer is quite a good journey to like figure out and, you know, learn a lot from.
I was going to jump on problem solving. I think seeing a problem come up, and there's always different ways of doing something. And to be fair, there's times when it's not necessarily one way is better than another. But I think there's many aspects to take into consideration, whether it's commercial reasons, health and safety reasons. I think there's always different areas to explore, and I think it's the exploring that, I mean, it's where you learn, and I'd say that's the best bit, and then actually completing it on site.
Everyone cares about each other, is from what I've seen. And I guess that's one of our core values, but it's actually embedded. It's not just, you know, said. So I think I joined Bentley's 9 years ago now, nearly a decade, halfway to my watch. And I've never worked at a business who care about its people as much as J and Bentley's do. And I hope, as apprentices, you can see that from day one. That's my honest truth on it.
It's something that we discussed quite often in college.
Yeah.
Is we don't feel like we'd have the support as good as much as we do here if we went anywhere else. So I think that's all from us. I've enjoyed this chat. Have you?
Yes,
Yeah.
thanks.
Thank you for having us. Yeah, thank you. Enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
And if you're going to be an apprentice, come to J and Bentley's.
There we go.